A very pleasant morning to one and all present here. Welcome to the second edition of Tech Bharat 2021. It is time to welcome our guests and delegates. To do the day's welcome speech, may I now call upon President of IMS Foundation, Mr. HVS Krishna. Sir, over to you.
Shri Prahalad Joshi, Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Coal and Mines, Minister of Government of India. Dr. Ashwath Narayan CN, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister and Minister for Higher Education, ITBT and ST, Government of Karnataka. Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan, former Infosys Chief. Shri P.S. Shrikanta Datta, President Laghu Udyog Bharati Karnataka. All our exhibitors, sponsors, media friends, distinguished members, participants, and invitees, a very good morning to you all. On behalf of Laghu Udyog Bharati Karnataka, may I extend a very warm welcome to all distinguished guests present virtually at the second edition of Tech Bharat. Along with IMS Foundation, Laghu Udyog Bharati Karnataka, the apex organization in the service of micro and small industries in India, is organizing its second edition of Tech Bharat, that is 2021. The first edition of Tech Bharat, organized in January 2020, was resounding success as the conference touched upon the uncharted G2B, that is government to business domains. While the second edition of Tech Bharat will focus on empowering education and healthcare in India, with a broader spotlight on two significant important tracks. Number one, EduTech. Number two, Health Tech. I will briefly touch upon the two tracks. The education track, 4.0 Industrial Revolution is fast catching up. As we cannot keep the education and technology in separation, it is a time to look at creating a safe and secure learning platform for technology-enabled personalized education and embrace them in total. As there is a huge gap between level of education between the urban and rural mass, with much needed lateral shift in mindset, promotion of computer literacy and adoption of newer teaching techniques for both educators and learners of the rural mass in India is the biggest opportunity. Second, on the healthcare focus, the biggest challenge the world faces today is making healthcare innovative, affordable, and accessible, coupled with access to information and technology, improvement in healthcare policies, and reorganizing healthcare delivery systems to address the basic aspects like cleanliness and hygiene in achieving the universal health coverage. Further, through the social entrepreneurship, access and traction to healthcare, insurance, financing and healthcare services, building healthcare repositories, and adoption of innovative business model to tackle healthcare needs. Again, skilling of developing healthcare resources is the biggest challenge and as well as opportunity worldwide. As far as outcomes are concerned, the deliverables are very clear to us. Reaching the unreached audience, enhancing brand equity of Indian organizations, aiming for larger global market share in Indian entities, earning community reputation and goodwill, enhancing visibility of Indian products and services globally, access to business opportunities with Indian government, reaching out global players and innovators, achieving collaboration in research and academics of foreign universities. Over the next few hours from now, you'll be listening to some of the best domain speakers from these two tracks. Experts from government, both state and central, industry capitals, academic think tank, established and aspiring entrepreneurs, trailblazers, and influential mentors and motivators. Before I close, I once again take this opportunity to extend a hearty welcome to one and all distinguished invitees and participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna, for welcoming the guest for the day. Very good day to you. Moving on, Tech Bharat 2021 is the second edition in its series. It is time to inaugurate the day's proceedings. To invoke the blessings of Bharata Mata, may I now call upon Miss Amrita for the invocation song.
वातापि गणपतिं भजे हम वारणास्यं वरप्रदं श्रीवारणास्यं वरप्रदं श्रीवा भूतादिसं सेवितचरणं भूतादिसं सेवितचरणं भूतादिसं सेवितचरणं भूतादिसं सेवितचरणं भूतभौतिक प्रपञ्चभरणं भूतभौतिक प्रपञ्चभरणं वीतरागिणं विनुतयोगिनं विश्वकारणं विघ्नवारणं वातापि गणपतिं भजे हम वारणास्यं वरप्रदं श्रीवारणास्यं वरप्रदं श्रीवा पुरा कुम्भसम्भव मुनिवर प्रपूजितं त्रिकोणमध्यगतं पुरादिप्रमुख द्युपासितं मूलाधार क्षेत्रस्थितं परारिचत्वरिवागात्मकं प्रणवस्वरूप वाक्रतुण्डं निरन्तरं निखिलचन्द्रखण्डं निजवामकरविधृतेक्षुदण्डं कराम्बुजपाक्षबीजापूरं कलुषविदूरं भूताकारं हरादिगुरुगुहतोषितबिम्बं हंसध्वनिभूषितहेरम्बं वातापि गणपतिं भजे हम वारणास्यं वरप्रदं श्रीवारणास्यं वरप्रदं श्रीवा
Thank you, Miss Amrita, for that wonderful invocation song. Stay blessed. Now it's time to light the lamp of today's event, Tech Bharat 2021, by digitally lighting the lamp. Once again, I thank you all for your gracious presence in the inaugural session of Tech Bharat 2021. Now it's time to call upon our Honorable Chief Guest, who is also the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Government of India, Shri Prahalad Joshi, for his inaugural speech. Sir, may I now invite you for the inaugural address.
Dr. Ashwath Narayan, Deputy Chief Minister and Minister of Higher Education, IT, BT and ST, State of Karnataka. Sri Chris Gopal Krishnan, former Chief Infosys. Sri Srikant Datta, President Lagu Udyoga Bharati. Sri H.V. Krishna, Chairman IMS Foundation. All exhibitors, sponsors, media friends, distinguished invitees, a very good morning to you all. On behalf of Government of India and on my own behalf, I extend heartily welcome to the participant present on this virtual platform. It is in fact unique and very convenient way to address and reach out to the large number of thought leaders and single platforms through this virtual platform, which has become widely accepted norm in post-COVID world. I would like to congratulate team at Lagu Udyoga Bharati IMS Foundation for putting together, organizing second edition of Tech Bharat on such massive scale, which is really commendable. I would like to place on record Lagu Udyoga Bharati as an apex organization of MSME has been working very closely with the central and state governments by providing valuable inputs on various administrative and procedural matters on regular basis, which is indeed helping us during the policy formulation process. Understand that top industry contains representing the edutech and health tech are participating in this virtual meet today. I would like to talk about on the education and health. On both education and health, I would like to talk. When it comes to the education, I firmly believe that Atmanirbhar or self-reliance in education is mantra of achieving ambitious dreams of the young and emergent Indian population. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and technological integration has helped in overcoming the difficult times posed to us during the COVID-19. It is also the mantra which can people the Indian higher education system to achieve the global standards and thus make the India emerge as the most preferred destination of the higher education in the world. The Sustainable Development Goal 4 envisages the education development agenda. Education is a fundamental for achieving all human potential, developing an equitable and just society, and promoting the national development. The Indian education system has a rich and eternal past. Nalanda and Takshashila universities in the 5th and 6th centuries were the highest centers of the learning in the world. Vikramashila Vallabhi set the highest standard of multidisciplinary teaching research. Our Indian soil gave birth to the greatest minds of Charaka, Sushrita, Patanjali, Aryabhata, Chanakya, Gautama, and many other scholars from all fields. The universities of ancient India attracted the students and the scholars from all over the world by virtue of their eminent scholars and the high-end quality education that they offered. Ancient India, thanks to these universities, was a much sought after hub for higher education. These are our benchmarks, and if you have to reach anywhere close to them, constant innovation and the tireless pushing of our quality standard becomes imperative. This is envisaged by National Education Policy 2020, introduced by our government under the leadership of Shri Narendra Modi ji. The NEP is aimed at providing a universal access to quality education in historic and multidisciplinary manner by integrating technology use, online digital education, and at the same time revive and learn from our glorious past. National NEP also intends to give a relook to ancient education system and see if we can replicate some of the thought process to better learning experience for our young Indians who are considered as the most receptive and open to the learning experience in the world. India is a global leader in information and communication technology, and Digital India campaign is helping transforming the nation into a technological empowered society. In this, education plays a vital role. The NEP envisions use and integration of the technology to improve the education by building the curiosity and creativity in young minds. The National Education Technology Forum, envisaged to be created in NEP, will provide a platform for free exchange of ideas on use of technology to enhance the learning. Along with these technology, greater inclusion and accessibility to our Divyang students will be a great leap forward in this new decade. Coming to health sector, it is very important to mention that this year there has been 137% increase in union budget allocation for health sector with a special focus on COVID-19 specific funds. With the allocation of more than 2.83 lakh crore on the health and wellness sector, our government is committed to vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat in health. It is the highest ever allocation for the health sector in India. The investment in health sector and the health technology has been increased substantially. Furthermore, when it comes to the health tech vertical, the government of India has formulated National Digital Health Mission, NDHM, which is called its short form, with the aim to provide the necessary support for integration of digital health infrastructure in the country. The visionary initiative stemming from the National Health Policy 2017 intends to digitalize the healthcare in India. National Health Authority has been entrusted with the role of designing strategy, building the technological infrastructure and implementation of National Digital Health Mission. NHA is also apex body for implementation of Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The NDHM is a collaborative, innovative between many ministries and departments. It is the primary vision is to create national digital health ecosystem that supports the universal health coverage in efficient, accessible, inclusive, affordable, timely and safe manner and seamless online platform through provision of wide range of data, information, infrastructure service, duly leveraging open, interpretable standards-based digital system and ensure the security, confidentiality, privacy of the health-related personal information. With the launching of digital mission, lot of business opportunities have emerged. The current strong public digital infrastructure provides opportunities to the streamline health information through digital management. The experience of ABPMJY can be leveraged to expand the health digital reach of health to all residents and develop the open and interoperable health management system that empowers the residents, healthcare providers, the government and researchers. Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain and computing provide additional opportunities for facilitating more holistic digital health ecosystem that can increase equitable access to health service, improve health outcomes and reduce the cost. By establishing the comprehensive national integrated digital health ecosystem, NDHM will contribute significantly to the achieving the goals of National Health Policy 2017 and SDGs related to the health. NDHM will mark a new beginning for the Indian digital healthcare ecosystem, enabling more effective delivery of the healthcare services and moving towards the health to all. I strongly believe that active collaboration between private and the government entities can bring the revolution in both health and edutech sector. This is the one way of achieve Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Before thanking Laghu Udyog Bharati and IMS Foundation, I call upon who are here assembled or who have joined virtually that this is the time that even our technical and medical education should be in regional languages. If it is in Karnataka, it should be in Kannada. If it is in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, it should be in Hindi. If it is in Tamil Nadu, it should be in Tamil. Like that, all these education, may it be health or technical education, I strongly feel that it should be the medium of instruction should be in regional languages. That will give more opportunities and more understandings of the things to our students, and many people say that if that is done, then there will be threat to research and development, R&D will be hampered. But it is not so. The many countries in the world I can say, from Russia to Korea, Japan to Germany, they are teaching all these things in only their regional language. Nothing has happened to their R&D. That's why I call upon these two organizations to explore the possibilities of making our technical and health education in regional language. I once again thank LUB and IMS Foundation for allowing me to share my few thoughts with the industry leaders, and I sincerely hope they will take forward health, the education ecosystem to a greater heights in coming days. Thank you. All the best.
Sir, thank you for accepting our invitation to inaugurate first day's proceedings of Tech Bharat 2021. Indeed, your speech was very apt for the occasion. Thank you once again, sir. Well, it's time to invite our guest of honor for the day, Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayan, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Minister for IT and BT, as well as Minister for Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka. Sir, may I now invite you to address the gathering virtually.
Namaste. Good morning to all the participants who are participating in Tech Bharat 2021 second edition. On this occasion, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Union Minister for Parliamentary, Coal and Mine Ministry, Government of India, Shri Prahalad Joshi ji, and our legend and Chairman for Vision Group for IT and ITS, Shri Gopal Krishna ji, and our President for Laghu Udyog Bharati, Shri Srikanta Datta, and Shri HVS Krishna, Chairman for IMS Foundation, and exhibitors, sponsors, dignitaries, friends from media, and participants who are participating in this virtual meet. Dear friends, as all of you know, Tech Bharat 2021 The first edition, it was organized extremely well, and there was excellent participation, and they've done an excellent job. Subsequently, now the Tech Bharat 2021 second edition is being organized on a virtual platform. This event now has got an extremely good response from all the industry partners, academia, and the government as a whole, from the public. So I would like to congratulate the organizers on the behalf of Government of Karnataka. On my own behalf, I would like to congratulate them for doing an excellently good job. So dear friends, as you know, all of you very well, we don't have to go much behind the present events, whatever is happening. The COVID-19 has shown us what kind of challenges we'll be facing in those kind of challenging situations, how technology has come to our rescue. Particularly in the sector of education, it caused a lot of challenges, confusion, disruption, obstacles were created to ensure that for the continuing of the academic activity, it has become a very challenging time. So to overcome all these things, we were able to address all these challenges through the technology, through the digital technology. We were able to reach out to all of them, we were able to conduct exams, we were able to continue our academic activities either through offline or online. We were able to manage it very effectively. So in this Tech Bharat 2021 second edition, basically they are focusing more on EduTech and Meditech. So these two areas have become very important and very crucial. Particularly, as all of you are aware, the COVID-19, the kind of challenges the entire world has to pass through, you are all aware of it. And personally, each one of us have gone through a lot of challenges, each and every family and each and every individual. We went through a lot of challenges with regard to ensuring the academic activity continuity and for the conduction of the exams or the classes, and with regard to the healthcare. Even providing and getting healthcare was really challenging, whether to address the COVID-19 patient or the COVID-19 care has to be given, or to the chronic patient or the acute patient, and the kind of shortage of infrastructure, the manpower, many issues. So with this backdrop, the society, as we were the pioneers in the field of technology and innovation, we were able to address all these challenges even in any urgency, even with a very limited time also. The kind of transition and transformation which happened in our society, in our state, it was extraordinarily good. Within no time, we were able to catch up with the technology to address the challenges what we are facing. To address the challenges what we are facing, we were able to get the solution through the technology, and we adapted it very fast, and we were able to continue with our all academic activity and providing the healthcare services. In this direction, we have got hundreds of examples with regard to the remote ICU, remote teleconsultation, telemedicine, and many things. Digitalization worked wonder even with regard to the monitoring of the COVID patient tracking. All these things we were able to do everything digitally. And with regard to the education sector also, since we are not conducting classes, all the classes were conducted through online and through digital learning. We were able to reach out to all the students. So dear friends, the EduTech and the Meditech has become the need of the hour. It needs a lot of encouragement, and this is the way forward to ensure whatever divide we have been seeing between urban and rural divide, the digital divide, the health quality of health services divide, or the quality of education divide, all these things can be very effectively addressed by adopting of the technology. And in this direction, the adoption should start from us. The government we have been promoting in a very big way the adoption in the government institution itself. We have taken it up in a very big way with regard to the governance of the education institution or the health institution, or providing education through the technology, the digital technology. We have started with the LMS program, smart classrooms, devices being provided, the net connectivity. Through this, the entire loop has been completed and we are able to cater to the needs and aspiration of the children, not only just, addressing this kind of challenges and providing even the quality education can happen through the adoption of technology. And as well as the healthcare, many of the remote places or the rural areas will not be able to cater. The digital, but the Meditech has played a very big role to ensure in future, irrespective of the places where they live, we can provide all possible quality healthcare can be provided wherever he might live. We can provide the quality healthcare through the digital technology. So with all these enablements, we can see a better future for our society and our people. So we need to keep upgrading with the usage consistently. Going forward, we can improvise, do much more better. So in this direction, we need to keep using, and we can strengthen, we can promote the technology in a very big way and ensure that it will become the best way of doing things and addressing the challenges what we have been facing in the society. We are seeing the presence of a lot of technologists, innovators, entrepreneurs who have come here to share their contribution and their vision for the future. So their words, their thoughts is going to make a big difference. Let us hear to them, let us listen to them, and we'll take up their ideas and suggestions, and we'll work forward to ensure that our society will be the best place to live, to address all kind of challenges. With these few words, I would like to stop here, and I wish all of you all the best. Do well. Thank you. Jai Hind. Jai Karnataka.
Sir, happy to have the support of Government of Karnataka to this second edition of Tech Bharat. Your presence in this virtual event has inspired all of us. Thank you for your kind words and assurance from the government to support both innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you once again, sir. Moving on, it is time for the presidential speech of this inaugural session. I now invite our very own industry veteran and one of the leading IT experts to do this. Well, it is our own Mr. Krish Gopalakrishnan, who is present in this virtual session to give away his presidential remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this inaugural session of Tech Bharat 2021. My greetings to all the dignitaries who are present, who are participating. Sri Prahalad Joshi, Dr. Ashwath Narayan, the dignitaries from Laghu Udyog Bharati. So greetings to all of you. I'm very happy to join you today on the session on education and healthcare, because this year the focus is on education and healthcare. Emerging technologies are disrupting all sectors, and emerging technologies are going to disrupt education and healthcare also. During the pandemic, in the last 1 year, it is because of digital technology that we have been able to connect with each other. We have to attend classes. We were able to attend classes using telemedicine. We are able to do consultations with our doctors, with our physicians. So technology really has helped us during the last 1 year, and has also clearly demonstrated the value of these technologies. There have been new business opportunities also created by this rapid transition to digital technologies. Unfortunately, this has also exposed the challenges these technologies pose, because there are people who do not have access to these technologies. They don't have an internet connectivity at home. They don't have a user device to connect to the internet, and hence, this also has amplified the digital divide, unfortunately. And this is something that we need to keep in mind as we go forward, And I would like to address that first, especially because we have ministers present here. We need to think about actually providing internet access as a right to every citizen of the country. We need to think about providing a user device, an access device to every family in the country as a right. Now, having said that, let me now come back to the changes in education and healthcare. As I said, there are significant opportunities to disrupt and hence create new leadership in these sectors. There are significant opportunities to create new business models leveraging these technologies, and there is opportunity to think about new businesses, new startups emerging out of this. And when you look at education, of course, India is doing well. A lot of unicorns, that is businesses with $1 billion of valuations, are emerging out of India, and they're also becoming global. They are able to provide educational services to students around the world. So this can be now taken forward to see whether our schools and colleges can accept students from anywhere in the world. It opens up a new avenue for us to provide education to students around the world, become a global education hub, leveraging technology. On the healthcare side, we're still experimenting, we're still trying to understand. The Government of India has announced the National Digital Health Mission. It is a framework of standards and architectural elements which allows interoperability, which allows digital patient records and things like that. It allows choice to the individual to consult whichever health service provider they would like to see. So we need to adopt this as quickly as possible before we get overwhelmed with legacy. So the challenges in a developed country is that there's so much legacy in healthcare, so much investments that have gone into healthcare that they're finding it very difficult to change. We don't have legacy and we need to take advantage of that. We don't have significant investments. So let's do it right the first time. Let's implement these things first the right time. This provides opportunities for large number of startups to emerge in diagnostics, in patient care, in providing health insurance, in looking at new models to deliver healthcare. For example, can we move from an illness-based healthcare system, that is when somebody falls sick, they approach the health service provider, to a wellness-based healthcare system where you want to stay healthy, and that's why you approach a health service provider. So in order to stay healthy, you approach a health service provider, and it's a very different way of thinking and model of providing healthcare and things like that. It also plays into some of the knowledge systems that we have in terms of Ayurveda, yoga, healthy eating, organic food, and things like that. And all of these are now opportunities for creating new businesses. So on the education side, on the healthcare side, I believe we have significant opportunities to disrupt existing businesses. Now, as a startup, you need to think about two models. One is creating a profitable small enterprise, gradually growing, or what I call linearly growing the business over time to become a mid-sized business or a large business. And this is what most businesses are going to be. And so your goal must be to start a business, become profitable, and then grow linearly. The second type of new business is what are called innovation-led, technology-driven new business, what we call startup. These take external funding. They may be loss-making in the beginning as they grow, and over time, they will become profitable. But here, the opportunity is to create exponentially large businesses in a very short period of time. High risk, so many of these businesses tend to fail, but those that survive can create immense value, can create immense reach in a very short period of time. These are the e-commerce companies and things like that. This decision has to be made very carefully, and most businesses, as I said, will be small, profitable businesses to begin with, and that should be your aim. Now, if you're an existing business, why do you need to work with the startup ecosystem? I strongly believe that they need to work with the startup ecosystem because by working with these startups, you get exposure to new ways of doing things, innovative ways of doing things, new products and services which are faster, cheaper, better, and you also can grow faster because you can acquire, integrate these companies into your business. Most startups exit through acquisitions. So by working with these startups, you actually get familiar with them, you get comfortable with their business models, with their leadership, and you can actually acquire them. You also learn leadership development by mentoring these startups. You get visibility into how these startups operate, etc., by working with these startups. You can also looking at funding startups, so that becomes either strategic or a financial investment. You can also create incubators where you work with a bunch of startups, maybe in your industry or in an adjacent area, etc. But as a business leader, as a business, I strongly advocate everybody working with startup ecosystem, everybody working with new businesses. The government has, over the last 5 years, taken large number of measures to help the startup ecosystem, to enable more startups to happen, and we have seen significant outcomes because of that, significant number of new startups because of that, both at the center as well as the state. I'm very proud to say that Karnataka is one of the best in terms of supporting the startup ecosystem. I do not know of any other state which has given 100 plus crores as grants to startup, through various programs and things like that. So this is the right environment from a technology perspective, disruptive technology. This is the right environment with respect to support from government, both from regulatory perspective, ease of doing perspective, as well as financial incentives, as well as other incentives from the government. And if we have also a right ecosystem of support from existing businesses must support new businesses, new business creation. I think we will have the best environment in the world. We are number 3 today. I hope we will become number 1 soon. Bangalore is one of the most innovative cities in the world. We need to strive to become the innovative city. So thank you all for inviting me to this opening inaugural session. I'm very excited with Laghu Udyog Bharati championing the cause of innovation, startup, new businesses, ease of doing business, making Karnataka and India better locations to locate your business, start your business, run your business, etc. And wishing you all the very best, and thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, we are pleased to listen to your remarks, thoughts, as well as impressions on technology advancement. And also, you were throwing the light on the great opportunities in IT for the next generation. Sir, thank you. Thank you for your presidential remarks. Well, last but not the least, it's time for word of thanks. Word of thanks by the organizing committee of Tech Bharat 2021. To do this, I call upon the General Secretary of Laghu Udyog Bharati Karnataka, Mr. Narayana Prasanna. Over to you, sir.
Sri Prahalad Joshi ji, Union Minister for Parliament Affairs, Coal and Mines, Government of India. Dr. Ashwath Narayan CN, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister and Minister for Higher Education, IT, BT, and Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka, Sri Kris Gopalakrishnan, former Infosys Chief, Sri H.V.S. Krishna, Chairman, IMS Foundation, our exhibitors, sponsors, and media friends, distinguished invitees, members, participants, a very good morning to you all. It is indeed a pleasant task for me to propose a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Sri Prahalada Joshi ji and Dr. Ashwath Narayan CNG. We sincerely thank you, sir, for readily accepting our invite and addressing Tech Bharat Edition 2. Talking about today's Tech Bharat 2021 Edition 2, the flagship event jointly hosted by Laghu Bharati Karnataka and IMS Foundation. I am proud to say that along with the government of Karnataka, several other education and healthcare institutions are associated with this event, and such event basically showcase the credibility of the state's competence to the outside world. As you are aware, healthcare and education are two important sectors that will drive the economy in the state, and on both these sectors, Karnataka is the leader. We have a galaxy of speakers who will be presenting their incisive thoughts on how education and healthcare will shape these coming quarters, and also sharing their outlook on these two significant critical sectors in the economy. At the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to assure you that Laghu Bharati will continue to cooperate and partner with the state and central governments and also private sector on improving overall business environment. We look forward to all stakeholders, their help and guidance in making this partnership fruitful for benefit of the industry and overall economy of the country. I also would like to place on record our respectful thanks to our ever engaging Sri Kris Gopalakrishnan, former chairman of Infosys Limited, who is real architect of Tech Bharat and who has always stood like a rock behind us to showcase this massive show to the public. My personal thanks to all our speakers and exhibitors who have so graciously accepted our invite to participate in this virtual conference. My special thanks to Tech Bharat team and Laghu Bharati office secretariat for putting their efforts continuously for more than 4 months to make this Tech Bharat Edition 2 series a grand success. Not taking much of your time, once again, I thank media friends and each one of you present here in this virtual conference, and we will begin this technical session now. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Narayan Prasanna. On behalf of the organizing committee of Tech Bharat, we thank all the audience present in this virtual session, and we look forward to have you for 8 more sessions of the day. They are all panel discussions in healthcare and edutech. Each of you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.